Well, good morning, my algebros. So today we're at 8, completing the square. So how do you create a perfect trinomial square or a perfect square trinomial? We also like to say these are identical twins, right? Identical twins. And these identical twins could be, for example, like x plus 2 squared, right? That's what we're talking about here. All right, so completing the square. Let's just first talk about how do I complete a square? Well, I know that it's the middle term cut in half and squared. When I do this, it literally makes a little square. And it's a completed square because we know that if I were to Xbox this, I would see that two numbers that multiply to be 25 and add to be 10 would be 5 and 5. Or this would be x plus 5 times x plus 5. Or we also like to just say it's x plus 5 squared because it's identical twins. Two of them, 2 times them. Perfect trinomial square. So we can create this with any binomial, right? We're just cutting the middle term in half. This is negative 20 in half would be negative 10, and negative 10 squared is 100, right? So now we just have to really be careful and see that this would then be x minus 10 squared, right? Because two numbers to multiply to be 100 would be negative 10 times negative 10 and add to be negative 20. All right. How about this one? 16 and half is 8, and 8 squared is 64. So my shortcut in writing it is I can see that it's 8 plus 8, or x, right? X plus, it's a positive, 8. And the whole thing is squared, right? Okay, go ahead and try this. You try. See how you did. So you cut negative 8 in class in half, and we get negative 4, and negative 4 squared is 16. And this would be x minus 4, pardon me, squared. Sorry, I've been having a little bit of a cold. Okay, so binomial squares, we know we like to write them as identical twins, right? We already talked about this would be x plus 5 squared, right? This one that we already did, we cut it in half, and then negative 10 squared is 100, so it's x minus 10 squared. Go ahead and try this. You're going to complete the square and then make the new perfect square trinomial into a binomial square or identical twins. Okay, let's see how you did. So negative 12 and half is negative 6. And 6 squared is 36, right? So we don't have to write them in, but we need to remember this is a negative and this is a negative. So we don't forget that this is negative. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and solve quadratic equations using completing the square. So up until this point, this is what we have been working to, right? So I know I can just move over, add a little space there, and make the perfect trinomial. And so I'm going to be adding 16 to this side of the equation, which means I have to add to the other side. I always have to keep my equations equal. So if I add or subtract one thing to one side, I have to do it to both sides, always. So then I can write this as the perfect trinomial, but I also added 16 the other side. And now I can solve using rooting, because I know that it's a perfect square. I created it, so I know it is. Right? And that equals another perfect square. So now it's just like 8-7 homework. We square root both sides, and we get x plus 4 equals plus or minus 4, and now we have to solve for the two equations, where x plus 4 equals 4, and x plus 4 equals negative 4. We subtract 4, and we get 0 and negative 8. Remember, we're solving here when y is 0, so we have to get to that place. All right, so this is a perfect, this is not a perfect trie, excuse me. So now I need to fix this, right? I need to move the constant to the other side. And now I can complete the square. So negative 10 and half is negative 5. So I need to add negative 5 squared, which is 25, to both sides. And then I can factor the perfect trinomial, because I created it. I know it's x minus 5 squared equals 16, because 25 minus 9 is 16. Then I factor, right? I'm sorry, not factor, I solve. Square root both sides. I get x minus 5 equals plus or minus 4. And I solve for when x minus 5 equals 4 and x minus 5 equals negative 4. And I get 1 and 9. Because on this side, I added 5, getting the 9. And this side, I added the 5, getting the 1. So we're just doing 8 part 1 today, and after break we'll start on part 2. Alrighty, have a great day. Bye.